Though a saint in both the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church, Olga of Kiev is one saint you wouldn't want to mess with. Her date of birth is unknown, but we do know that she was brought by Pskov to marry Igor, Prince of Kiev and son of Rurik, the founder-ruler of the Kievan Rus, in the year 903. She must have been 14 at the time, so she probably was born between 889 and 891. Igor and Olga had a son named Sviatoslav. Like all rising empires, Kievan Rus had grown at the expense of its neighbours, and one tribe called the Drevlians weren't okay with their rule. The relationship between the Drevlians and Kievan Rus was complicated. They had joined the Rus in military campaigns against the Byzantine Empire and paid tribute to Igor's predecessors, but stopped in 912 when the previous prince died and instead paid this glorified protection money to a local warlord. Igor, of course, wouldn't let this stand, so he paid them a visit in 945. Things didn't go so well for Igor. He was captured and killed in a way that even Ramsay Bolton would be proud. They had bent down 2 birch trees to the prince's feet and tied them to his legs, wrote Byzantine chronicler Leo the Deacon. Then they let the tree straighten again, thus tearing the prince's body apart. With their son, the 3-year-old Sviatoslav, too young to take the throne of Kiev, Olga stepped up to rule as regent in his stead. The Drevlians saw this as a great opportunity to take the throne. They planned to marry Olga to their prince Mal. Not only would they be free from paying tribute to the Kievan Rus, they would rule the Kievan Rus. They sent 20 of their best men to try and persuade Olga to marry the living symbol of her husband's murder, and of course, like the good saint she was, Olga just buried them alive. Rather than leave it at this, a pretty definitive refusal if ever there was one, she sent word back to Prince Mal that she would accept his proposal, but only if the Drevlians sent another 20 of their great and good to accompany her back to their territory. Strangely, without asking what happened to the other 20 guys he sent, Prince Mal sent another party of their chieftains to collect her. Extending a suitably grand welcome, she invited the visitors to wash up in her bathhouse and then, locking the doors, burned the entire company alive. Oh, but this wasn't the end of the matter. With the whole of the Drevlian ruling class cruelly exterminated, Olga hatched a plan to do away with the rest of them altogether, announcing that she would soon arrive at the Drevlian capital of Izkorostan, and asked them to arrange a funeral feast where they could mourn over her husband's death in that very city. Despite not having heard from either of the missions they dispatched to Olga's court, the Drevlians set about preparing the feast, and after drinking themselves insensible on mead, Olga's soldiers put 5,000 of them to the sword. Even this orgy of bloodletting wasn't enough to satiate her need for vengeance, and Olga gathered an army to wipe out her foes for good. The surviving Drevlians begged for mercy and offered to pay in honey and furs to escape her anger. She seemed to soften, although at this point you'd think they'd know better. She asked for 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows from each house. It seemed reasonable to them, so they did that. Then Olga gave to each soldier in her army a pigeon or a sparrow, and ordered them to attach by thread to each pigeon and sparrow a piece of sulphur bound with small pieces of cloth. When night fell, Olga bade her soldiers release the pigeons and the sparrows. So the birds flew to their nests, the pigeons to the cotes and the sparrows under the eaves. The dovecotes, the coops, the porches and the haymows were set on fire. Every house was consumed by the flames. The people fled from the city, and Olga ordered her soldiers to catch them. She took the city and burned it, and captured the elders of the city. Some of the other captives she killed, while some she gave as slaves to her followers. The remnant she left to pay tribute. The Drevlians paid after all, in lives and homes, as well as in tribute to Kievan Rus. But why, despite this horrific carnage, is Olga of Kiev still venerated as a saint over 1,000 years after her death? In 969 CE, in case you wondered. She was the first ruler of the Kievan Rus to adopt Christianity in 957, when she was visiting Emperor Constantine VII in Constantinople. Even though she tried, she wasn't able to spread Christianity throughout the kingdom. She wasn't able to convert even her own son, for that matter, who spent most of his time at war. But that is something that her grandson pupil, Vladimir the Great, would later do.
Thank you for watching. I also would like to say thank you very much to Chokan for doing the voiceover for the video. Go check him out, his link will be in the description. Hope you have a nice day.